So to introduce our panelists, first off, we have Oscar Kawicki. He's a SPCT and Safe Practice Head with upGrad KnowledgeHut, and he has more than 20 years of experience leading teams as well as training, taking a lot of trainings. Odile Moreau is a strategic advisor and SPCT at Scaled Agile. She has a lot of experience in IT Agile as well as taking a lot of lead for transformations. And now I hand it over to you, Oscar and Odile.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you very much. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a newbie in AI, and Oscar is going to do most of the heavy lifting. But it's a pleasure to get back with Oscar and to allow you to know a little bit more about what we've been working on. And Oscar will dive deeper into the practicalities. But as you know, AI is not a dream anymore. It's a reality and it's accelerating a lot. And every single day you hear a lot of things. So what we did last year, we decided to go full blast on AI augmented curriculum. So we've been working very hard the past month to release the AI augmented RTE training that has been going on since December. And what we want with this is to give you all the necessary elements so that you can really help yourself and be augmented with AI. Like Oscar is going to mention, it's not you against AI, it's you with AI who's going to be able to help your trains and your teams to deliver even better value. And if we look at the next slide, Oscar, during this training, you will see that obviously the wheel of responsibility is what drives the curriculum and the lessons. And for each of those elements in the responsibility wheel, you will learn how AI can help you. You will also do a lot of exercise with prompting in order for you to really reap the benefits of using AI. And when Oscar contacted me for upGrad to do a webinar, we decided that because Oscar has so much experience on the field, to demonstrate step by step in 3 cases. So we're going to take a deeper dive on how you can really reap the benefits of AI and how AI can be your trusted partner on that. So without further ado, Oscar, I'm going to give you the rein and you're going to show us what AI can do for RTEs.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Odile. I'm humbled by your introduction and thank you. A big thank you for that. And a very warm welcome to everybody. As Odile mentioned, AI is already becoming a part of our work. And I see that I have a lot of my students actually from the previous RTE classes last year. And I know that you are all looking for tangible examples. How can we actually use AI in our daily work? So as Odile mentioned, we don't want to be a theoretical webinar because we know that everybody can use Copilot right now, everybody can use ChatGPT, but we would like to show you 3 cases that we have prepared for you that will allow you to become better, not in 5 years, not in 1 year, not even in 1 week, tomorrow. Tomorrow you will be already, yes, exactly, you will be able to use AI. And as Odile mentioned, of course, we have hands-on experience, and you know that I'm working with the clients in the field, in the trenches on the daily basis. So those will be the tools that I'm using also every day. So they are not theoretical, they have been field tested, and you can use them from day one. So the first use case that we are going to show to you is how AI basically changes the PA planning. So please give me some thumbs up if you think that preparing PA planning is basically a long and rigid event. Does it? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it takes, or exactly, it takes a lot of time. Oh my God, more than I expected. So yeah, it takes a lot of time to prepare the PA planning, and we are going to show you how basically AI changes this process dramatically. And from my experience, I know that whenever you're telling me from your organization's perspective that SAFe is not working for you, it's because of the PA planning. Yeah, this is the first clue that I'm looking for. How are you executing the PA planning? Because we know that most PA plannings, they don't fail in the execution. They fail long before the room is actually booked. Yeah, and the reason behind this is that the large initiatives, they arrive without proper decomposition, and they are forcing the teams to refine on the fly instead of planning the execution actually during the PA planning, what they should be doing. There is also a set of vague requirements and oversized features that create confusion about the scope, dependencies, and team capacity. We have, all the testing strategies, acceptance criteria, and technical debt, and even quality rushed into conversations, squeezed into those PA planning time boxes when we say, oh, guys, we need to talk quality, we need to talk acceptance criteria, etc., because we will need to present our draft plan review in 5 minutes. Have you heard those kind of things? Unfortunately, I did. Yeah. And of course, a lot of people are invited just in case because we don't know who we are going to need. And then, of course, all those meetings are booked with people who are there just in case. And there is a coordination overhead and also diffused decision making because nobody actually knows who is responsible for making which decisions. So we know that PA planning is an event that saves a lot of time, and it is an event that actually builds the quality and also alignment into our ways of working. So the problem is not the event itself. The problem is PA planning becoming a refinement workshop instead of a decision event. And of course, if you would ask Dean Leafing, how it was originally designed and intended, it was originally designed and intended to be a decision event, not a refinement workshop, and as it's being executed in many organizations right now. And this results basically, as you can see, in team decomposing the features and needing some clarity refinements, which consumes hours of valuable time that could be and should be used for collaboration. We also have, some critical analysis and problem solving that is occurring under pressure, with, for example, 100 plus people waiting for the outcomes. And of course, without proper preparations, the team lacked the context and data needed to commit confidently to the objectives. And who is then the release train engineer? The release train engineer becomes the hero who actually tries to, put all those elements together, and by using facilitation and using their coaching skills, tries to actually make this event successful, which without, of course, this person wouldn't be, we wouldn't be able to run it successful in the very first time. Okay, so now you might say, yeah, Oscar, but we know it because we face it on the daily basis. So can we do something about it? Absolutely, we do. And AI is going to help us with that. So I'm going to now present a live demo to you, and I'm going to show you a prompt that I have written. And by the way, I'm going to share all the prompts at the very end here on the chat. So and during the Q&A session, so you are going to have all of them as a gift from Odile and I, and those are ready to use. So you will be able to use them in your organizations straight away. And I'm going to show you how I approach PA planning refinement sessions right now. So let's take a look at this epic. Yeah, we have, as you can see, unified customer account overview. So you know that I work mostly in the banking industry and I come from financial industry. So this is an epic that is a typical one that we would see on the PA planning sessions. And please read this epic individually in a couple of seconds. And we know that we have all worked on epics like this. Yeah, very big. It's clear enough to understand the business needs, but on the other hand, it's far too large and vague for the teams to immediately begin the development works. Yeah. So in this case, the decomposition, refinement, dependency analysis, test planning, quality, standards definition, I could go on and on and on. Do you think that it would take days? rather weeks or even months. Yeah, if we would be looking at all of them, how to basically run it. And now a question: can we reduce this time to minutes with AI? Absolutely, we can. Yay! So I'm going to open my best friend, Chat GPT, which unfortunately my wife says that I talk more to the tool than herself on the daily basis. And unfortunately, it's not a joke. This shows how much we are using AI right now, and of course, spending a lot of time at work. So here I'm going to show you the prompt that I have written, and this is the prompt that you will be able to use, and it helps us to refine the epic straight away into the features, but then even those features into those user stories, and make sure that we have all the quality built into to our components. So I'm going to open basically the prompt. This is how it looks like. As you can see, you have the row, you have the epic that you've seen before on the slide. And the task is to basically decompose it into one feature and one user story. But what's even more important, the one that is going to be ready to implement straight away in the PA planning itself. So
Oscar, we don't see your screen. I mean, we only see the live demo. Yes. Now we can see it. Yes.
Now we can see it. Thank you so much. So that's a very good point. So thank you so much for that. So here you see the prompt itself that I have prepared. Here we have the epic that I have showed to you during the live demo. So the only thing that I'm doing, I'm simply copying and pasting it to ChatGPT. And when you will be using it, the only thing that you need to change is the epic over here. Yeah, so the whole prompt is reusable and you can use it in any kind of industry. And we go ahead and...
Yeah, and when you do that, please do not put any private information. Keep it low, high level, unless you have a proprietary ChatGPT instance for your organization. Don't put any private information, because then it's out there.
Thank you so much, Odile. That's a very, very important thing, and that's why we in SAFE are teaching how to use AI responsibly. And yeah, it's one of the ways how to do this. So as you can see over here, AI is basically not doing the work for us. It's allowed us to think with them. So we shouldn't copy and paste this blindly. So I always say to the people, don't be that guy or girl who drives into the lake because the GPS told you to do so. This is just a thinking partner. But as you can see, we have the first feature that it has decomposed it into. We have description. Most importantly, we have the business value over here. So as you can see, it basically already speaks the language of the leadership. Yeah, it formulates what is basically the cost of delay. We have some leading indicators, we have acceptance criteria, but most importantly, we are also building, as you can see, the quality in. So we have the behavior-driven development scenario. Yeah, given an advisor is authenticated and authorized, we have the cost of delay, as we discussed, the portfolio alignment, and even more importantly, the PMO, so the project management office, already knows immediately, do we plan this for the next PI or not? And if we go even further, as you can see, you have the non-functional requirements, you have the risks and assumptions. So this is very important because it surfaces the uncertainty straight away before we commit. So we can now commit or uncommit, for example, to this work far more with far more data. And over here, if you can go further, we have a user story. One of the user story, of course, you can modify this prompt to get more, a range, for example, of 1 to 10 user stories with acceptance criteria, also behavior-driven development scenario, an example of test case that you can already use as test cases for your testers, and of course, compliance evidence generated, and some leadership decision summary there as well. So as you can see, in most organizations, this takes weeks and still comes incomplete Because have you seen those kind of features and those kind of user stories with this amount of data that you see over here? I do not. Yeah, very, very rarely. So please remember that in this case, this allows us to save a lot of time, and makes things that happen in weeks now can happen in minutes. But the most important thing, as Odile already mentioned, please use this wisely, and also do not copy paste it. Treat it as a thinking partner, and use this output to basically discuss with your stakeholders and with the teams as an great input that you can enhance even more. As Odile mentioned, this is not AI doing the work for us. This is AI helping us to get better and elevate us to a different level.
Yeah, and Oscar, because there are already some questions coming in.
Yes,
One how can we test the prompt? So the prompt will be sent to you after the demo, so that you can have a look at it. And like Oscar mentioned, the power of AI is to understand your context. So the more you know your context, the more you can help AI understand where you come from and what you are working on. Like Oscar mentioned, AI is a very powerful, very smart, but also very stupid tool if it doesn't know your context. So like Oscar mentioned, very crucial, play around with the prompt, understand the prompt. And actually during the RTE training, the AI enhanced part, we help you understand how to write a good prompt. And Oscar has done 99% of the job there. You need to be thinking about the 1%, because Oscar has done it quite generic from his point of view, but you know as an RTE better what is your context. So I think that's very important to remember that. And then there's another question, Oscar. I know we could talk about it like hours and hours, but Khaled wanted to know, due to AI, our management keeps asking us to reduce the number of product owners and Scrum Master across the team. They want to have the Scrum Master to handle around 3 teams, and the same for product owner. And the question, the $1 million question, is that possible? Everything is possible, obviously, but there is the big BUT here, I think. Oscar, what do you think?
Exactly, Odile. Thank you for that. And a very short answer that I always give to the leadership, because guess what? Do you think that they are asking me the same things? Yes, they do. I say to them that AI is actually now those things, for example, backlog refinement, helping to free up to 30% of time of a product owner. And do you think what I've heard from the product owners in the past? We never had time to talk to our customers. We never had time to really understand their customers' needs, because we were working on these manual things, and we were always bogged down in those manual things. So AI is not replacing us. It actually frees time for those value-added activities that we didn't have time before. And this is my approach, and this is how I would always tell it to the leadership.
Wise word, Oscar. There is another question. Maybe this one I can answer. Can we use the same in Jira AI or Rovo? So what Oscar is showing you are universal prompt techniques. So if you've got Jira Cloud instance and you've got Rovo, you will be able to copy and paste it, and basically Rovo will execute it. So again, this is something that you can replicate in any type of AI tools that you've got at your work. All right, I think we've answered all the questions right now. So maybe we can move on to the conclusion and to the next one.
Thank you so much, Odile. And thank you for that, for those questions. Of course, we can have the discussion a little bit later as well. So write those questions. If there will be a lot of questions, we can even run a separate Q&A session for this webinar in the future if you wish to. But the most important thing that I would like you to take away from this example is that the main benefits of this approach allow us to highlight the dependencies release early, but most importantly, to embed the quality from the start. So, quote, everybody has his heroes, and Odile knows that Edvard Deming is my biggest hero because I'm a very lean person. I come from lean, and one of my favorite quotes of all time is from Edvard Deming, of course, that inspection does not guarantee quality, nor does it improve one. And the reason behind is that the quality, either good or bad, is already there in the product. So you cannot inspect the quality in. It's already too late. The only thing that you can do is build the quality in. And this, as you can see, builds the quality in from the very beginning. The product manager, product owner, they cannot say, oh, we haven't taken this into consideration. You did, because you have this built into your prompt and to your ways of working. So the key insight is that, as you can see, the future of release train engineer and an AI empowered release train engineer is not about facilitating longer meetings or managing more complexity, which we know that is already unmanageable at this point, but is actually leveraging intelligent automation to basically eliminate preparation chaos, embed the quality in from the very beginning, as we have already said, and transform the PA planning from a refinement workshop, which I see that many organizations use it right now, into a focused decision event where teams basically confidently commit to delivering values in continuous flow and make the key decision on time. And this is an example when AI can empower you and can elevate you as a release train engineer in a matter of seconds. Thank you. All right. So this was the first case, and now we know how can we reduce the PA planning time from the matter of weeks, sometimes into minutes. And one thing I know we have discussed it with Odile, so be very careful with that. But I will tell you this, that if you are already running a mature, safe organization, then I have already reduced the time of the PA planning from 2 days to 1 day. But do not tell it to your leadership, because we have discussed it with Odile that everybody will say, yeah, of course, so let's reduce it straight away. No. It doesn't work like that. If you are already working in safe, and if you are already very mature, and you can now automate all those things which are non-value added ways like refinement sessions, preparation, then you can reduce the PA planning time to 1 day. But I would be very, very careful with that. And especially, I wouldn't start with that at all. So this is just a reminder. But this also shows that, as you can see, AI is not only helping us to reduce the preparation time, but it can also help us to reduce the time of this event as well by generating a lot of cost saving for the organization. Perfect. The second use case, as you can see, now we are going to see how we can use AI as basically impartial facilitator. And once again, it's going to help us to generate better and more clear decisions as a release train engineer. So once again, if we're looking at the work of release train engineer, we know that the hardest work is not running the event itself, but dealing with this repeating tension, where the same conflict surface between the teams, PA after PI, and basically it drains the energy from the whole Agile release train when we are making those same mistakes over and over and over again, and people are simply tired. The emotional inspect and adapt sessions, when those events become politically charged battlegrounds where people are basically fighting and are very defensive between each other rather than having those honest reflections. And of course, postpone decisions. So this is extremely important right now, where those critical decisions are getting deferred indefinitely. We always talk about it, but we never make any kind of decisions. Do you know this kind of situations? Of course, we do. And this is one of the reasons why we cannot do this, because there is a problem with, this kind of neutrality. Without neutrality, the system is basically protecting itself. And we do not know how we can make an honest and very neutral the decision. And unfortunately for that, we have discussed this with Odile as well. This is why people hire consultants like me, because they want to hear brutal truth and honest truth, but from somebody who is outside of the organization. And I always say to everybody, that I worked with, that I think it's unfair, because basically they hear the same thing from me that they are hearing from you, but they believe me more because I'm outside of the organization, and they need to see some kind of outside perspective. But this is how it is. So can we actually do something about it? And definitely we can. You can have your Oscar consultant in your pocket after this training. So you'll always be able to carry me in your pocket into your next meetings. I promise you. I promise
that's the beauty of personalizing your AI agent. You can give the Oscar personality.
Oh, thank you. Maybe not. Don't do this. Maybe take Odile. Odile is Odile is much better in dealing with especially the tough leaders. She is amazing in that. But you can have Odile or Oscar or both of us in your pocket. I really mean it. And the reason behind this is that, as you can see, AI is someone that provides, as you can see, a neutral system level analysis, has definitely no personal agenda, has no emotions and no politics. And the most important thing is that it is consistent over time. So AI is going to help you to elevate something that was basically in the past your opinion as release train engineer opinion to something that is impartial system observation. So we are not talking about opinions anymore, but we are looking behind the systems and how basically the system makes the decisions in the very first place. So now we are going to show you the second demo, and what you are going to see, and this is very, very important, is not once again the AI doing the work for you, and it's not facilitating the people for you. It's helping you to see the system behind the conversations that we do not normally do if we are working individually. So the second demo is going to look like that. I'm going to have, as you can see, 4 inputs that I have prepared for all of you. So the first one is, of course, those are very short. And come on. In the, okay, I know what's happening. In the normal situation, this would... here. In the normal situation, this obviously would be much longer, but you have an input from inspect and adapt meeting. Here you, for example, have some leadership frustration email that is focusing, why are we still discussing the same topics every quarter? Yeah, why I get different answers, different answers depending on who I talk to. Do you know those kind of things? Of course you do. And now, instead of it being Oscar who is formulating his or her opinion, we are going to see how we will be able to use it. So now we are going to perform the second demo. And in the second demo, what we are going to do, I'm going to open a new chat. First, of course, you need to put the input. Yeah, and you have input straight away from the inspect and adapt, from the team retrospectives, from the leadership frustration emails, risk log and reality check. Everything is in one place. Do you think that it would take you weeks to analyze it? And do you think that your analyze could be biased? It definitely could. So here you are going to see, and you are going to have an AI augmented facilitator art level decision making master prompt that in your pocket. And over here you will be the AI is going to act as the assistant that is going to support you to analyze all those things and all those documents. But the most important thing is also going to help you to make the right decisions out of it. So just, copy paste, and we run basically the prompt, and the magic already happens. So let's take a look.
Yeah, so while it runs, I just want to add, Oscar, that again, your role is not like going away. You still need to have those empathy interview. You still need to run and ask powerful question. And your role is now more as a collector of input. Instead of doing the analysis yourself, you can have a better way also to ask question, to make sure that the input is very valuable. So I think this is also important to remind you. You can use also AI to record your sessions. Always ask your Scrum Masters, obviously, when they are conducting the retrospective and when you are registering all of this input, is it okay, again, it does not remove the trust that you have to build with your teams and your Scrum Masters.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Odile, for those valuable and powerful insights, as the prompt has, as you can see, already run. So the first thing that you would see system patterns. Yeah. So those are recurring system patterns. And this is the way how we, for example, can remove the politics out of the room. Because can we discuss with that decisions are being discussed, but not decided? No, it's not me talking. It's, AI analyze it, and we can see where it basically happens. So you see this, you even have, the data. You can show, I have the risk log check that I can show to you if somebody is asking, questioning that. The next thing that is very, very important. Here we have the decision gaps. So here is where the real issue is, as you can see. We are not failing at the delivery, as you are going to see when you are going to run this prompt, but we are making decisions not early enough. And this basically is slowing us down. And here you have those decision gaps identified. The next thing that you see is, as you can see, some issues that the teams need to resolve, but also issues require systems decision. So you already know that those are the things that we can resolve individually. But remember what we are always talking in SAFe, we need leaders to actually change the system. And without those recurring system decisions, the system is not going to run properly. And you can have it already presented to the leaders over there. And obviously, talking about the leaders, here is the leadership summary. So this is what I always send to the leaders. No emotion, no blame, just facts and decisions. Once again, this alone takes hours of explanation, and they know that those are the decisions that they need to make if they want the system to operate basically better. And hopefully they do. And the last thing that I would like to show to you, and this is the most important thing, the system level improvements. And this is, as you can see, one big thing, only one thing that I would focus on the next PI. Do you think that you are currently in a situation that you have a backlog of hundreds of things that you would like to focus on in the next PI? Are you certain that you know where your work is going to leverage, where you should put the most effort? You don't. And this actually helps you, as Odile mentioned, to make the best decision over here. So please remember when you are going to, and here we have the primary system leverage, for example, for the next PA focus. And please remember that, as Odile mentioned already a couple of times, is not that AI is replacing us, but it is basically helping us to decide where our attention really matters. And this is actually the hardest part of the leadership, because the leaders, they have all the data, but they need to choose the point where they are going to concentrate the most. And this is actually going to help you dramatically. So please feel free to use this prompt, play around with it, and analyze your data and make some very good data-driven decisions based on that.
Yeah, and what I really appreciate about this prompt is that you've got also the question that the RTE can ask. Again, our superpower as RTE is to asking very powerful questions. And sometimes, like you mentioned, Oscar, it's easier when we are external because we don't live there, we don't work there, so we can ask those powerful questions. But what I like is when I'm asking questions is always ask the AI, hey, what could have done differently to have even more impact in my questioning? So I really appreciate that from your prompt. So I've got a question. Swapna has asked us, how could we leverage AI to show better suited metrics for measuring PI effectiveness and tell us what better we can do in the upcoming PI? That's a very powerful question. And I knew this one was coming about metrics.
So one thing that I would like to share with you, and this is what we especially teach during the advanced safe practice consultant trainings, is that please remember that if you measure something that has absolutely no value for your leaders, it's basically is not going to help you a lot. So what I would do is use AI first to start a conversation. You can even, without having, of course, you should talk to your leaders first, and you should ask them what kind of metrics are going to help them to make better decisions, what kind of metrics are going to help them to make the decisions faster, etc., etc. But imagine a situation that you do not have the access to your leaders. Do you think that you can ask AI to interview you on who is your leader, what is your organization, etc., etc., and help you to discuss what kind of metrics would they like to see to make better decisions? Of course you do. So this is my answer. As Odile mentioned, don't use generic metrics. Use those metrics that only help us to make better data-driven decisions. Please remember that metrics themselves, they only have a cost because it takes a lot of time and a lot of money to gather those metrics. And if they are not helping us to make better decisions, then the question is, why even are we using them? And if you do not have the access to the leaders, AI is going to help you to basically understand and to set up the metrics that are going to address their needs so much better.
Yeah, thank you very much, Oscar. There was another question, but this one is easy to answer about the prompts. Yes, they will be shared with you. When you registered, you gave us your email address, and this is exactly the reason why we capture your email address, is because we want to be sending them. So like Oscar mentioned, yes, they will be shared. All right. Okay, no more question on that side, Oscar.
Thank you so much. So let's wrap this up. Once again, the AI-empowered engineer is not a person who facilitates more events because maybe runs, free Agile release trains right now with AI and is facilitating free PA plannings like you discussed that now the Scrum Masters need to run free teams, which doesn't make sense. It basically, AI is making us the cost of not deciding visible for the very first time, and also turning passive awareness into active, basically, urgency. And the future of AI and the release train engineers using AI is basically belongs to those organizations who can cut through the organizational noise, which is huge right now, as we know, and basically drive meaningful change by being able to concentrate on those topics that will address the most problems, like using Pareto analysis. Yeah, we know that 20% of the causes can cause up to 80% of the problems that we are taking, but nobody truly knows where those biggest constraints are. And with you analyzing this data, you can suddenly provide it to your organizations right now. And the last example that we are going to show to you is how we are going to use RAG-powered policy and compliance co-pilot. So this is going to be especially important for those organizations who are working in highly regulated environments, which we know that basically most of the organizations are working on right now. And we know that in every organization around the world, compliance is everywhere and nowhere at the same time because it's huge, but it's scattered, around the departments, documents, people. Somebody has it in their head, somebody has it in some kind of document, etc., etc. And when the compliance is and the documentation is scattered across the document repositories, it's very difficult to locate when actually needed. And we know that basically the technical guidelines are basically also disconnected from the day-to-day development workflows. And this results basically in critical requirements surfacing too late in the delivery cycle, which of course costs us a lot, and it creates costly delays, and the teams discovering the compliance after building the features and forcing expensive rework, or even more, what we are going to see in just a second. So we know that most of the organizations that I work with right now is that the teams never intentionally ignore compliance. I have never ever faced this kind of situation. The reason why we are not compliant is that the teams cannot simply access the right guidelines when they need them to make critical decisions, including, for example, preparing for the PA planning. And I see, Vijaya, you are asking the question, can we get some insight into how dependencies can be better identified and managed using AI? This is going to be one of the examples when, for example, some dependencies and critical data is going to be identified before the PA planning very fast. And why basically discovering compliance late is so expensive. We know that the problem is not the compliance itself. The real cost is basically from when and how compliance basically enters the system. And the most important thing that we see right now is that most organizations treat compliance reactively. Yeah, we build something, and then after weeks and a couple of months, etc., we see that we are not compliant. Does it sound to you a bell when we're talking about building quality in? It's already too late because the milk has already been spilled, and you have already done the work. So we shouldn't think about compliance as something as we treat from the retrospective. We should treat compliance as built into our ways of working, and we should look at compliance as we are looking at the future. When we are building something, we already see what we need to do in order to be compliant, not to treat it from the retrospective perspective. And in this case, compliance needs to become a constant built-in part of how we basically work and embedded from the systems from the start, looking and the teams looking basically forward and not backwards from the compliance perspective. Okay, Oscar. Yeah, Fury. Now, can we do this? Of course we can. And here we are going to use a concept of RAG. So for those of you who are not aware, RAG is basically called retrieval augmented generation. So it means that basically in plain words, it means that AI does not rely on its own memory or guesses, but you need to basically give the information to AI first, and then it retrieves the answers from only approved sources, and only then it generates a response that is grounded in that evidence. So in practice, this basically turns your AI from a chatbot into a decision making co-pilot that answers according to your rules, not generic knowledge. And as Odile already mentioned to you, because it works only on your private controlled data sources, like for example, you have a database that is secure, obviously, and you can only access it through your custom GPT, or you can even run it on your physical device. It keeps the sensitive information compliant because all the policies, they live only in this internal data repository, and they have no access to external data sources, public internet, etc., etc. And you say, okay, Oscar, so we need a database. No, you do not. I will show you right now straight away how you can basically create your RAG in a matter of seconds. And you are going to we are going to do this. So the first thing that before we are going to start working, we are going to see an example. So I have prepared a user story for you. As a bank advisor, I want to access real-time consolidated view of a customer's full financial profile, including accounts, balances, transactions, credit products, and risks indicators, so that I can make informed decisions during the live customer interactions. Okay. So seems like a pretty usual user story, yeah, but a pretty innocent user story. But as we see, it touches security, privacy, architecture, and audit at once. So if we get it wrong, we do not get it back. What do we get? A regulatory problem. So now, if the teams think, if only I could have all those people, the security officer, etc., here with me when I'm actually doing the working on this user story, do you think that they can call those people? Of course, they do not. They are too busy, and even if they are there, they do not have this data. At the grasp. So what I'm doing right now is, as you can see over here, I've prepared for you a security policy, a data privacy policy. Those are documents. Yeah, you can basically read them when you will be looking at this, and basically putting all of them, as you can see here, to ChatGPT. I'm creating a rack. So when ChatGPT is going to be need to maybe put it like that. So when ChatGPT is now going to be, as you can see, running through those documents, he is not going to make anything up. He's only going to run through those data sources. And the reason behind this is that over here, as you can see, I have created as you can see, a prompt for you when you have security, privacy, architecture, audit, product in your pocket. And it basically, as you can see, creates this role as you can see, cross-functional enterprise advisory panel from security, data, privacy, etc., etc. They will be looking at those documents, but only those documents, and they will be looking at the user story so you can here put an input of the user story, and they are going to see if you are basically compliant. Are there anything that we need to take into consideration? So let's run the prompt.
Yeah, and while it runs, what I like also, this is your opportunity also to collaborate more closely to risk officers, compliance officers, security officers. This is also your way for them to be involved in the value creation of your train. Again, it's great if you can build the prompt together, gather also all the information, make sure that you always have the latest version. So again, not replacing, but collaborating more strongly and making sure that I love the in your pocket. Basically, even if they are not there because they are busy somewhere else, you know that you can count on the insights because they have been working with you and they have shared the information that is truly important and accurate to make up your mind and have those decision-making process.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you so much, Odile. So as Odile mentioned, we have invited basically security, privacy, etc., to the table. And what they have said, for example, security, yeah, this user story is acceptable, but with gaps, and already tells you what kind of gaps they have seen. And when would you get it? Of course, weeks, maybe months after the implementation. What is also very importantly, it shows you the source when you can basically see, and you can check where this basically comes from. The same thing from data privacy. As you can see, the business purpose, live customer interaction is valid but purpose limitation, data minimalization, and masking are not, for example, explicitly defined. So this is the problem, as you can see, that they have already identified for you, and you know it in advance. Of course, the same thing goes for the architecture and for the audit, but you have, for example, Vijaya, you have asked how can we look for those dependencies prior to the PA planning. Here you have them. All the key risks and gasps early warning that you have identified prior to the PA planning itself. Requirement adjustments, suggestions, of course, please remember that those are just suggestions that you should definitely discuss with the people in the departments. Required evidence. So as you can see, shifting learning left, what they would need to see in advance. As you can see, you take this into the consideration from the from the perspective if they would be looking at it in the future. So in this case, as you can see, the audit does not become an event when we have a heart attack at the end of the implementation. We are basically already we already have the missing evidence later will result in audit findings, and we know it straight away, so we can use it for the future. And the last thing that I would like to show that I have built in over here as well is the basically compliance not telling us what to build, but us deciding with the eyes open. So you have, as you can see, 3 product decision options that you can do: conservative, balanced, recommended, and also aggressive ones. And this is basically the time when the leadership, with their eyes open, they can decide how much appetite do we have for that risk, and they can make a decision based on this data. So as you can see, RAG makes compliance and this kind of approach, again, built into the system, unavoidable, but also very predictable one as well.
Excellent. This is fantastic. Thank you, Oscar. We've got 2 questions that I think that I will just park one question and then we can answer it later on. But the one that Ganeshan has sent is, can we use these in client AI tools? I think we already started, but maybe reiterate what our advice would be.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Odile. So I believe that the 5-second question is that please read or hear the interview with Sam Altman, I believe from 10 days ago or so. And he was basically asked if I'm, for example, asking AI for some legal advice because I did, for example, something wrong. Does it have the privacy? And Sam Altman says, no. Everything that you put into AI is public. So I think that this is more than enough for this answer. Never ever do this. Yeah. And if you are ever facing this kind of situation, then obviously first advise what is your company policy on AI. And if the company does not have AI policy for AI, then basically run an AI native training as soon as possible.
Yeah, and reread the article on AI, responsible AI, indeed, yes.
Exactly. So maybe to wrap this up, because I have just, 2 slides, why does it basically change the game? Of course, you have for the teams, for the leadership, but here we have for the release train engineer, it dramatically lowers the late stage escalations. We have fact-based facilitation with evidence at hand and more productive inspect and adapt conversations as well, because we do not force those kind of things into it. So, compliance was something very, very far from release train engineers. Security was very far from release train engineers. Now you can have your team in your pocket. Yes, I will be using this term a lot because I think that it really shows how fast and how easily it can be used. And as you can see, with AI and RAG in place, compliance moves to upstream. This is the most important thing, and it becomes basically a design input grounded in evidence, not in opinions. And the release train engineers can basically, now build more predictability. For example, you are talking about the data, you can be more predictable in the future.
Yeah, and I really love that, because the shared services is always a bottleneck for most of the RTEs. Those people, they usually have not only just your train to think about. So having the work done with them prior, making sure that all the right documents are there, understanding how to prompt with them in their mind, having those already first output with the AI, then if there is something that is still, ambiguous and not clear, then you can drive the conversation with them, and it's easier for them to spend more time on that. So maybe we have found the solution for shared services. I don't know about that, but it is worth experimenting. So thank you very much, Oscar. Really appreciate all the time that you've taken, and also give a round of applause to Oscar, because he is going to share all those prompts. He could have kept them for himself, but he has decided to share. So that is brilliant. Thank you again. That was a pleasure preparing for this webinar. Now I think I'm going to give back the word to Christabel.
Awesome. Wow, this has been an incredibly insightful session. A huge thank you to you, Odile, and to you, Oscar. Thank you for hand-holding each of the participants, taking us through those so many scenarios. It's really much more than just groundwork that was done here. And to our participants too, they've been an amazing audience, asking questions every second minute. And Odile and Oscar did a great job with answering so many of them on the go. So a big thank you to all of you who have joined us from across the board, across the world.